21 Savage just dropped his new album, American Dream, and I was fortunate enough to get 2 of my beats used on this album. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you how I got both of those songs and a few things that I learned along the way when getting these placements.
Red rum, red rum, red rum, red rum.
So it all started inside of my Discord server. And if you're not already in there, I send my loops and my starters for free to everyone in there. And then they send back collabs on my stuff. And at the end of every single week, I send out placement packs to all of my connections to try to get those beats and those loops placed. So if you want to work with me for free and get your stuff sent out to big artists for free, just click the first link in the description to join my Discord. But anyways, back into it. So back in late 2022, I sent a vocal starter to my Discord and didn't really think much of it. It had just kind of become part of my routine. I just sent some new stuff I made. And my boy Yusuf used that vocal starter and made this loop. And once he had that loop done, he sent it back inside of my Discord. And around this time, a producer named Jonas Lee joined my Discord server. And he was talking about how he had an opportunity to work for 21 Savage. So long story short, Jonas Lee went into the collab loop channel and he was just going through and cooking up to a bunch of the loops in there. And from what he's told me, the last loop that he checked was the one that I made with Yusuf. And he made a beat with that and sent it back to me. And it sounded dope, but we didn't really hear anything about it. And I didn't really think much of it. It was just another beat that we cooked up. And after about a month or so, I didn't really hear anything about many people using that loop, so I had completely forgotten about it in my mind until that same loop got placed with a smaller artist, which I'm not going to name in this video, but you can take your guess. And this smaller artist and their label wanted me to clear this loop as an exclusive for $200, and I was definitely not going to agree to that. I hadn't heard about anyone getting on this loop, but I knew that this loop was super dope and that it had potential to maybe go somewhere big. But the label and their lawyers were not having it. They kept pressing me and my team to get this contract signed, and we reached back out to them and tried to do a non-exclusive deal with them because I wasn't willing to sell the exclusive, but they were not cool with that, and they were just going back and forth, threatening my lawyers and my team. And it got to the point that my team called me and told me what was happening, and I just decided that my team helps me out with so much stuff. I didn't want to make their life miserable over this loop that I didn't even know if anyone used. So while I was sitting in the airport to get on a flight to Austin to speak at South by Southwest, I decided that when I got back home from this trip, I was just going to sign this paperwork to get this deal closed out and just move on so we didn't have to deal with that argument anymore. And I am so thankful I got on that flight, because if I hadn't gone on that trip, everything might be different. That night, after getting back to my hotel room in Austin at about 2 in the morning, I got a text message from Jonas Lee that had a screen recording in the words that every producer wants to hear. We got one. So I see that text and I am super hyped, and I immediately click on that video while I'm laying in bed, and I hear 21 Savage rapping on my beat.
One more see love in the car, you gotta help out. Niggas stressed out. Probably why I tell the kids to put the guns down.
And as you can imagine, I was no longer tired, and for the next hour, I was just up asking him questions about the song and just listening to the snippet on repeat. Shout out Jonas Lee and Kid Hazel for making that beat and making that connection, because this definitely wouldn't have been possible without them. But there was one big problem. That was the same loop that the smaller artist had just used, and they were trying to get me to sign the agreement for. And as soon as I realized that, I was so glad that I had been on that flight and I didn't have time to sign that agreement. But it taught me one key thing, and it's to know your worth. And when something doesn't feel right and it doesn't feel like you should move forward with it in your gut, you probably shouldn't. I had this gut feeling that that loop was really good and that eventually it could land on a bigger song with a bigger artist that I want to work with. And I almost let myself ignore that just to get rid of a little bit of an inconvenience. But I'm so grateful that I found out about that song when I did, because we ended up getting it all resolved with that smaller artist, and we were able to make sure that this song with 21 Savage could still come out. But all this happened back in March of 2023, so I had a lot of waiting to do. It felt like it took forever for this song to come out. Right away, we had been told that this was one of Savage's favorite songs, so we were pretty sure that it was going to be on his next album, and they were saying that it was going to drop in April, but April came, it never dropped. And then there was rumors about it dropping in October, which made sense because 21 Savage with Halloween, it just kind of added up, right? But October came, it didn't drop. So I've been waiting for months thinking that this was going to drop, and just kept getting let down that it wasn't going to drop. But while I was waiting, I found out that I had another song with Savage. And this brings me to one of my biggest lessons in all of this. Put your stuff everywhere that you possibly can. I had already got one Savage song through my free Discord server, which was completely random. And then this next song that I got came from a random sample pack I put out in 2022. My boy Geo6 had gotten a vocal kit from me that I worked on with my favorite vocalist, Paula. And originally he had hit me up to tell me that we had a song with Rylo Rodriguez on one of the vocals that he used, and I was already super hype about that one. But then later he texted me that we had another one with 21 Savage, which was mind-blowing. But honestly, I get texts like this all the time that so-and-so recorded on your beat, and 9 times out of 10 nothing ever happens with it. So since I didn't actually hear the song and I just got told that I had it, I kind of didn't 100% believe that it could actually be happening, and I never really heard about it again from him, so I didn't really think much of it. So I was back waiting, listening to that one snippet I did have with 21 Savage on repeat, just waiting for it to drop, until finally about 2 months ago I got a contract for the second song that I got with Savage called Letter to My Brother. And when I got this email sent to me from 21 Savage's label, I was through the roof excited because I knew that I was confirmed to be on this album. And if having the one song wasn't enough, a few days later the song with Yusuf, Jonas Lee, and Kid Hazel, Dark Days, also got confirmed for the album. So both the songs from my vocal kit and from my free Discord had both gotten on 21 Savage's album, with me virtually having zero connections to 21 Savage at all. So shout out everyone involved who got these songs placed, because all I really did is put my stuff out there to the world and I let the right people find it, and then from there they kind of did the heavy lifting for me. So I'm just super grateful to be part of the album and part of the project. But anyways, I waited anxiously for the albums to drop, knowing that I had 2 songs on this album. I had been telling everyone that I had songs with 21 Savage for this whole year, and I was so excited to finally have it released so I didn't look like some idiot who was just talking about stuff that's never gonna happen. And on Friday, January 12th, 21 Savage dropped American Dream, and I officially had 2 songs with one of my favorite artists. And it felt so amazing for this work that I did in 2022 to finally come full circle and release in 2024. And if it taught me anything, it's that good things take time. And again, to just put all your stuff out there. I can't stress it enough, because I would have never thought that putting out some random vocal kit or sending a random vocal starter in my Discord would land me 2 songs on one of the biggest artists in the world's album. And thinking about it, it really shows me that you should not limit yourself to what you yourself can do. Collaboration is key. None of these records would have happened if I was just trying to work with myself. If I had made those vocals with Pala and decided that I only wanted to keep them for myself and I didn't want to send them out for free to my Discord server, and I didn't want to sell them in packs for other producers to use because I wanted to keep it exclusive to only my sound, I wouldn't have either of these records. So my advice is to take every idea you make, put it in as many places as you can, break it down to its core elements, and send those to other producers to collab on, because you're going to gain access to their network, their sound. And honestly, the biggest records always happen when I'm working together with people, not when I'm working just by myself. But anyways, that's all I've got for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you want some free placement opportunities, don't forget to check out the free Discord. It'll be the first link in the description down below. Peace.